see. All right. So hello, everyone. Hi, Linda. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I am great. I'm super excited to introduce you as our April featured businesswoman. And yeah, so I'm gonna share a little bit with everyone about who you are and then let you take it over. Sound good?
All right, sounds good.
All right. So Linda Williams is a four-time author. She is also a certified book coach, and she also provides her customers with editing and publishing support. And super exciting. It's a little bit off, but save the date. Well, save the month rather. For October 2026, she is going to be partnering with actually one of the other Black Business Connector entrepreneurs, Tracy Wilkins Francis, out on Long Island for a writers conference. Super cool.
Yes.
So, yeah, tell the world a little bit more about who you are, Linda, and as a businesswoman and just in general, what inspires you?
Okay. Well, I mean, I've been a consultant. That's really my business. And I started out as a certified etiquette consultant. Did that for years, still do a little bit of that for basically for young people, high school, college students. But I wrote a book in 2008 on business etiquette, on church etiquette, I'm sorry.
Mm.
And after writing that book, I had a lot of people approach me and ask me how I wrote the book. They were interested in writing a book. And so I helped a couple of people just, based on what I knew, had a couple of workshops. And then I decided to get a certification because I realized that there are a lot of people out there, book coaches, that will assist you, but they are very, very expensive. Um,
Mm.
and so I wanted to provide a service that was affordable. And so now my focus really has been, since I've retired from work, my career. And so now I'm really focusing on working with writing clients.
Cool. Yeah. When we first met, it was quite a few years ago, and it was mostly your focus was on etiquette. So it's been interesting to just witness how you have evolved your business, and you're still doing those things, but
Yes.
you've really expanded and kind of stepped into even a bigger role, I feel, as a coach.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I just, I try to just be aware of how my
mm,
business is changing, what people are looking for in my services, and
mm,
try and adapt my business to that. Because, I mean, initially I had no plans of becoming a book coach. But again, when I realized there was a need for it, and I had a knack for working with people because one of the biggest things you need to do as a book coach is to be consistent in following up with people because
mm,
writing a book is one of the hardest things you have to do
yeah,
because there's nobody to push you and it becomes the last thing that you work on. I worked with a client, it took her 10 years to write a book.
yeah,
So as I started to work with people, I realized this is really a service where I can really help people to write their
right.
story. So that's, I just kind of keep looking. And now I'm doing, speaking engagements in addition to that. So it's
Yeah.
ever evolving.
It is. And I feel like sometimes, especially when people are still in their careers, you've retired, but when they're still in their careers, there's all these pressures to get this done and the next thing done and the following thing done for their career, for their employer. But the reality is, is just an employer. But people get like really into the moment of thinking and getting caught up and thinking that's the be all and end all. And then they keep their stories on the side. I'm actually coaching someone right now. Like, okay,
Yeah,
we have to, even if it's like 20 minutes a day.
right. Exactly.
I'm not coaching her on how to write her book or anything. It's more
Right.
about the accountability of like, where are we going to get this in, you know?
Hmm. But I think that goes with anything that you're doing outside of your career. You have to have a balance.
Mm,
Uh, I'm so sorry. You have to have a balance. And the balance is whatever it is that I'm going to do outside of my career, I have to make time
make
for
time
it.
for it.
It's not going to happen on its own because, like you said, your job really is your number one thing because that's your biggest source of income. But you're trying to start this business or this other thing in the meantime, and so you have to make time for it. It's not going to happen if you don't.
You know, if you make appointments for other people, you can make an appointment for yourself to write
That's
at
exactly
least
right.
20 minutes a day, if not
Yeah,
more.
that's exactly right.
So I am curious, because you have been doing this for some time. This is not brand new for you,
Right.
but over the years of being both an author and a coach, I am curious, how have your priorities shifted? I'm guessing you started out probably with some priorities that were really important and maybe now they're not so important. But as you've grown, like what have you seen as like more important that you kind of maybe even underrated?
I think when I started doing this, and when I started doing it, I was still working. And as you
Mhm.
just said, my career job was a very stressful and demanding one. And
Mm,
so when I first started, I was just looking to try to help people get started. And then, just kind of help them get the book started, but I wasn't really focusing on the whole picture of writing a book
mm,
because I would get to a point and then I would say, okay, I can refer you to this self-publishing company. It was more about that. It was more about doing what I could do
mm.
and passing it on to another entity.
Yeah.
Over time, I got training in editing. I have a very good relationship with my publisher now, who I can recommend people to publish
Mm.
books. So now I'm looking more at the whole picture of writing a book.
Mm.
And I've also learned that, the way I did it was I sat down and I prayed, honestly. I prayed and
Yeah,
I asked God to show me what to do, and I started writing. But everybody is not at that stage.
right.
So I've learned to help them kind of develop their book by starting with what I call an outcome outline, which is really just an outline of chapters of the book. Doesn't have to be a lot, just ideas, so that
Mm-hmm.
they get it down on paper and they can get it out of their head and kind of decide which way they want to go. It might change, but at least it
Right.
gives them a start.
It's so interesting because you have to kind of know where you're going in
Mhm.
business. I think this is like one of my biggest flaws. I don't have an exit strategy for my business. I don't know how I'm going to exit. Man, this is a problem. But I think it's good to have an outcome. Like where are we really aiming? And it could be something small, even in just like, where am I going with this book?
Right, right. But I think in business, I think I said it's ever evolving. So
It
we
is.
just have to be
Yeah.
paying attention to different opportunities than we may be looking at. We may be looking at the fact that um, we want to help people write a book, but perhaps somebody wants us to do a conference on writing a book. And you're like, no, I can't really do that because I don't know how to do that. I just know we
Yeah.
have to be looking for opportunities to expand because I really believe that's how business grows. It's ever
Yeah.
changing.
Yeah. You're right. I think when it has to be something that stretches us, it's so interesting because as coaches, we're like challenging the people, like,
Yes,
let's get the
yes.
whole overview, let's get
Yeah.
this outline done. But then, and that's a challenge that's big for them, but it's easy for us.
Right.
But are we supposed to stop growing? No, like
No, no,
now I have to learn how to do a conference.
exactly.
And you are in the process of learning how to do a conference.
Yes, I am, and it's a challenge. But if you're enjoying what you're doing, it's a good challenge. That's the
Yeah.
thing. you always, if you're in business, it has to be something you enjoy because it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. And there's
So.
no point in being miserable in your own business. I mean,
No, because a lot of people miserable in their everyday job. And I think that's what really helped me in my career once I started doing etiquette workshops, because people would say, how do you work all day? Go home, shower, change, and
yeah,
go do a 3-hour dining etiquette workshop. And I
yeah,
said, because I love what I do. And
yes,
that's not tiring to me. Work was tiring. The
right.
workshop is not tiring. It's like you get a second wind.
Yeah.
So if you enjoy what you do, you can put in the hard work that you need for it to be successful while still having your daytime job until it gets to the point where you can quit your daytime job and just have your business.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like because I was an educator for 20 years, that's not easy, as you know.
No, it's not. No,
Um,
it's not.
but I really do feel that having a business kept me sane. It kept me from leaving as
Absolutely.
a functioning alcoholic. It was really good for my
It's
mental.
true. It's
To have
true.
something outside that you really enjoy is so important.
Yes, I
You,
agree.
yeah, and you never know where it could go.
No, you don't.
So, oops, I just wiggled my table. Sorry about that little
That's
movement there. So I kind of want to dive into this concept a little bit more because you were talking about just like outlining it, but there are a lot of steps to writing a book and it can be overwhelming. And people will be like, oh, that's too much work. But like what is your advice for prioritizing? Like someone wants to do it, how should they prioritize and go about it so that they actually start it and finish it
okay.
and get it out?
So the first thing I always ask students is, why are you writing this book? Are you writing it because you want it to be a bestseller and you want to become rich and famous? Are you writing it because you want to help someone? Are you writing it because you have a story to tell? Why are you writing it? Because that's going to be your motivation. And if your motivation is to become rich and famous from your book, you might want to rethink it. Not that it's not going to happen,
Yeah.
but that shouldn't be your motivation. So that's the first thing. You have to know your motivation for writing it. And then the second thing is, what are you going to talk about? What is your book going to be about? And then who's your audience? Who are you writing it for?
Mm.
And then we get to the point of trying to do the outcome outline, which is just a simple process to kind of get the creative juices flowing, um, as to what your book is going to
Yeah.
be about. I also suggest to new authors
Uh-huh.
that they do some creative writing exercises. Like I send them to them and they get a writing prompt every day just to write like a paragraph or something.
Yeah.
Because if you're not a writer, it's like any other skill. You
Yeah.
have to perfect it. You
Yeah.
can't just sit down and start writing if you've never written a book. So that's the beginning of it. And once they get started with that, I ask them to think about a title, I call it a working title. And I ask them usually to come up with
Mm.
like five. And then from that, as we go through the process, we'll get closer to choosing the right title. It may not even be one of the ones that you came up with in the beginning. But again, it's all about getting yourself focused on writing the book that you want to write.
Yeah, you just reminded me of something that I'd kind of forgotten about.
What's
So
that?
I shared I was a teacher for like a while,
Right,
good portion of my life. Um, I still am, just in a different capacity, right?
right,
I had this one year, I had like these four boys, and they had not been promoted, and they were all like low self-esteem, but they had to write. Like there was no way they were not going to,
right,
they had to do it.
right.
So one of the things that I did with them was giving them these free write activities. I did
Mhm.
some other things like, like structures, like formulistic type things, like so they
Yes,
knew how to structure things. But like just because you have to get things out of your head without being the perfectionist.
exactly.
And like, oh my gosh, is that sentence right? And you go back and you get stuck on it. And you keep rereading it and rewriting it. And then you're like, one paragraph down 3 years later.
Yes. And that's something that I also say to my clients, when you start writing, don't keep going back and trying to
Um,
fix it. Just keep going until you think you're at the very end. You think you've written everything, you've gotten it all out of your head, everything that you can write. Then you go back to the beginning and look through it.
yeah.
And as you read through it, you'll think of more things to add. So
Yeah.
that's absolutely right. Because
Yeah.
if you keep going back, you can never go forward.
Oh no, you don't go forward. And it does. It gives you that confidence, especially when it's like very low stakes. To
Yes,
just like get your thoughts out so you get used to like not having to censor yourself and doubt yourself. Like by
exactly.
the end of the year, I one of those students, he ran out of time on his global history test. Like he didn't even finish his essay because
Oh
he was
my
like writing
gosh.
pages. I was like, oh my God, what did I do?
Yeah, what have I done? Oh man.
But it does work. It's
It
so
does. It does.
confidence building. Yeah.
Yeah. And I also tell clients to like, all of our phones have a voice, some kind of a voice
Mhm.
recording device. If you're driving, well, not if you're driving. Yeah. If you're driving, pull over on the road. And
Yeah.
if you think of something that you want to add to the book, just, say it into the recorder. Because if you wait till you get home, by the time you get home, you will have forgotten what you were going to write
Oh,
down. It's happened to me.
oh yeah.
So yeah, so that's another way of just being able to keep your thoughts.
Yeah. Or you're out and about and you're in nature
Yes,
taking a walk, and all of a sudden,
right.
the beauty of
Exactly.
nature just gives you
Exactly.
inspiration. But yeah, you don't want to stop and like write it down. So yeah, voice memo is a great tip.
It is.
You. Um, so now what do you feel yourself personally is the biggest factor in your success so far as an author?
If I had, I'm one of those people that I don't like to say what I think I do well. I
Mhm.
like for other people to tell me what they think I do well.
Mhm.
And so a lot of the people that I have worked with have come back to me and said, number one, you are just so patient with me,
Oh,
because I don't know what I'm doing and I keep coming back to you and you're so patient. The other thing is, that they say that I stay on their backs. I send out on my phone, I have reminders for all of my clients to contact them about,
mm,
depending on what we say in our conversation, how often they want to be
yeah,
reminded. But I won't call them. I'll just send them a text message.
yeah.
How's the book coming? And and so that, because a lot of people say, what I need is somebody to help me be accountable.
Yeah.
That is one of the, as I said before, one of the biggest issues with writing a book. And so I help them to be accountable, not in a mean way, not in a,
Right.
yelling and screaming, but just how's the book
Yeah.
coming? And it's enough to prompt a text back, oh yeah, I forgot I was working on whatever. So those are the two things I think that have really, and a passion for what I do.
Yeah.
Probably number one. I have a
Yeah.
passion for what I do. I love it. I do.
Yeah. I
Oh,
think, and it shows. Like you look so
thank you.
happy just now, even in our conversation.
Yeah, I do. I
It definitely
really,
shows.
and I have, I set up Zoom sessions with my clients to meet
Mm,
depending on where they are in the process, either every month. And in the first, until they really get started, it might even be every other week. And then it'll be every month. And then I'll tell them we'll come back in 2 months or whatever. But they can always reach me in the interim by text or email if they need to. So I want them to be successful. I want people, I believe everyone has a story to
yeah.
tell. And I want everyone who wants to write that story to be able to publish it.
Yeah.
So
It's so important.
it is.
Stories, we
It,
can learn so much about each other, but even just sometimes getting your story out is healing,
yes,
being on the same
absolutely
story.
is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So now,
Are you going to be my next writing client?
you know, Hmm.
Oh boy, we'll talk.
So, well, I have a book. It's written. I just need
Okay.
someone, I need it edited because I
Uh,
am very like, I can be very blunt.
okay.
And so I might need like my tone of voice to just be softened a
Uh-huh.
little bit more
Okay.
gently. You know what? You might actually work because it has to be someone who understands the Bible who edits it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Well,
Uh, maybe
I
we'll
will
talk.
definitely help you with
Finish. Okay. Moving along.
that.
Um, I want to know what, so we talked about what makes you successful, your passion for it, the ability to hold people accountable. But what do you think? Oh, so there's something called entrepreneurship, where
Yes.
it is, your business and you can build so much off of that entrepreneurship. Speaking, workshops, you could build products off of it. So many things you could go in so many directions, consulting services, right? But what do you feel the secret sauce is that most entrepreneurs are missing?
I think the biggest piece is that okay, so most people who are authors are introverts. They really don't like to put themselves out there. They're
Huh.
fine as long as they're, writing their book and they're in their office or outside or wherever they are. But when you say, okay, now we have to do a book launch, they're like, I have to do what? So what and you have to market it. How are you marketing your book? That is the biggest thing that authors fall short in. And it's the hardest thing because we don't know how to market. So, I always encourage people to look for either a social media influencer or a marketing person that can help them to get their book out there for people to know about it. But that is the biggest piece, that and then the financial piece, because you have to be able to keep your book. You need an accountant. I'm just going to say it like that.
You did.
You
Yeah.
need an accountant. You could do it yourself, but you really don't want to mess around with that.
I
So
mean, do we have time for everything? There's just too much in the day to get done. And so
it
I
is.
I am a firm believer that, especially since I'm not a fan of numbers, that all of my accounting tasks can be fully delegated out to
I know I do
be
because
figured
I'm
out.
not a numbers person either.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like,
So,
well,
you know,
while you're crunching numbers because you're good at it, you could also
right.
be writing a next book, or you could be pitching this book to an organization. So, I mean, there's so
Yeah,
many other things you could be doing to kind of
yes,
move things and advance things in your entrepreneurship career.
it's true. It's true because as you said, one of the things that people who are writing a book don't realize, and I've actually done workshops on this, ten steps for an entrepreneur, because
Mhm.
they don't realize that it is a business
It is.
as well as writing and publishing the book.
Yeah.
So, unless you're just writing it for yourself or for your family, like you want to write a book on your family history and publish it and just give it to your family, that's fine. But
Yeah.
if you're looking to make money from your book, it's a business and you have
It
to know
is.
what you need to do to make that happen.
Yeah. It's not really a hobby,
No, it's not a hobby.
although it can be very therapeutic.
Yeah. It is therapeutic, but it's work.
It
It's
is. It is. Yeah. And you should be
but if you
compensated for it.
and if you believe in what you wrote, I think it makes it, it's easier for you to be able to promote it.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
again, it's about the passion.
Again, yeah. So, all right, Linda, I don't know. I know you have a conference coming up. I know it's a little ways away in 2026 of October. I don't know if that's what the next level of success looks like for you or if there's something else, but what's the next level of success look like for you?
Well, I am definitely excited about the conference in 2026. And it's going to be an all-day conference at a venue. And we're going to talk about all the different aspects of writing. some of
Mm.
which we've talked about today. And we will have professionals there who are experts in each area to be able to talk to people. I'm really excited about it. I really am. I think it's going to be a very informative and enjoyable experience. So I'm looking forward to that. And as I said, I think that there's probably another book coming. I'm not sure quite when because my life has changed a lot over the past year, and I think there's a book coming out of that, but I'm not quite ready to do that yet. But I think
Yeah.
that's yeah, I think that's it. I'm trying to, wind down a bit, although that's
Mhm.
hard for me because I'm just one of those people that always has to be busy. But I'm trying to learn how to wind down and enjoy life
Yeah.
at this stage in my life, but at the same time, continue to do what I enjoy
Yeah.
when I want to do it. And
Yeah.
right, and now I have complete control over that. I can have as many or as few writing clients as I want. I can have as
Mm.
many or as few speaking engagements as I want.
Yeah.
So I'm in a good place right now.
Yeah.
Uh, so those are the two things that I'm most looking forward to over the next probably year to two.
Yeah. Yeah. Having the ability, that option to be able to choose is a luxury. Really. Not everyone gets that.
It is, it
Really a
is,
luxury.
it's a luxury and it's a blessing, and I'm very grateful for it, because when you retire, and this is the other thing too, and I'm just going to throw this in here. When
Sure.
you are thinking about retiring,
Mm.
have to have something in mind that you're going to do when you retire. What
Hmm.
is your life going to look like when you
Yeah.
retire? Because I've seen so many people who retire and they sit home all day. They watch TV every day, all day, and they just begin to deteriorate
They do.
because you have to keep moving, you have to keep going, you have to keep thinking, find something you like. It doesn't have to be a lot.
Yeah.
You can volunteer at I don't know, a botanical garden or a library or someplace that you like, but you need to find something to do and you need to think about it before you retire so that if you need to start doing something to prepare for it, you can do
Yeah.
it. Or when you retire, you're ready to just jump right into it. Maybe give yourself, a few months to relax, but then jump right into it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. We are really not meant we're here all, I mean, I personally believe at least that we're all here for a reason. And when
abs-
you just start existing, then there's no more reason. And it's like, there's no
yeah,
point. So
that's right.
we just deteriorate.
Yeah,
Yeah, we have to keep our minds and our bodies active with some sort,
yeah.
like it's a different phase. So I kind of did want to chat with you a little bit about that.
Okay.
Um, oh, but before I go on to that, I did want to mention that for your conference, your October 2026 conference, your
Oh,
business partner for that has a publishing company.
oh,
So it's
yes.
like a really
Yes.
nice, well-rounded thing. And it's not like people have to be like, well, now I've got this book and I know how to write it. And then they get to the end and like, what do I do? Like you've really got
Yes.
the exit or the outcome
I do.
also
Tracy
connected.
Wilkins Francis, who is the um, founder and owner of Annie Jean Publishing Company.
Yep.
It's an excellent publishing company for you to work with. And she actually, we really didn't start working together until I started working on my latest book. Um,
Mhm.
and I actually approached her to edit it for me because you can't edit your own book. It just
No,
doesn't happen.
it's
So
so hard.
so I asked her to edit it for me. And then it was like the Lord said, ask her about publishing it because she
Mm,
primarily publishes children's books. But when I asked her, she
mhm.
said, you know what? I was thinking about looking into publishing different genres of books.
Yeah,
So now she has taken on some clients in other genres to
yeah,
write to publish their books as well, but excellent company. And
yeah.
she's a gem. She
She
really,
is.
yeah,
Yeah. She's
Yes.
someone else who genuinely wants good quality and to do really right and well by
Yes.
people. Yeah,
Exactly.
beautiful.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
I'm so
yeah.
excited. So anyway, um, I did want to, because you touched on it, like for retirement, for example. But there's different phases that we go in life. Sometimes we like are single and then we're married, or then we get divorced, or the children leave the house, or we retire, or like maybe our parents come and live with us. There's just so many different transitions in life. So there's still the business though. So, what are some insights having gone through, you were sharing earlier, you retired
Right.
and now you found your purpose, and now you can like say, I can have as many clients or as few as I want. But what are some insights or tips that you could give someone so that they can still keep going in their business and not get consumed by like those life transitions?
So I think the first thing that I would say is life is about change.
Mm,
One thing that you are guaranteed is that your life is going to change
yeah,
all the time,
yeah,
constantly going to be changing. As
yeah.
you said, children go off to school, you retire, family members pass away, all those things happen. And we have to come to grips with the fact, I'm just going to say it, that there is a higher power, and
Mhm.
God has control over everything.
Yeah.
But when those changes come, I believe, and personally, this has happened to me because I've had children who've gone off to college and then got married, and I've had, family members pass away. I actually live with my daughter and her husband and my grandchildren right now, and that's a transition for everybody. So I've learned to try to reflect and take stock of what this change means for me and what I'm supposed to do in this new season that I'm in, because seasons change
Yeah.
and we can't look at it as a negative because everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And so we have to look at it, try to find the good in it. I mean, I'm a positive person, maybe to a fault sometimes, but but I try not to look at things negatively. I
Yeah.
try to look at, okay, what am I supposed to do now? And it may mean taking a step back, you
Yeah.
know, to reflect, as I said, and take some time planning on what you're going to do next
Hmm.
and start moving. Because if you sit and think about it too long, you won't move, or
Yeah.
you'll get consumed
Yeah.
by what is going on. And if you have a business, for like me last year, um, my husband passed away, and I stopped doing anything. I stopped promoting, and my book had just come out earlier in the year, last year.
Right.
And I stopped everything. I couldn't deal with it. Business was the
Yeah.
last thing on my mind.
Yeah.
But then I was approached to go to an author's event in, I think it was September. And
Okay.
I was like, you know what, Linda? If you're going to continue, are you going to continue doing this?
Yeah.
If you are, you need to get yourself out there because your books are sitting
Yeah.
in a box and they're not going anywhere and you're not, doing anything about promoting them.
Yeah.
So I agreed to do it. And I will tell you, when I got there, I sat in the car for a good 20 minutes and I almost went back home. And then I'm
Mm.
like, you know what, Linda, you got to make yourself do this. You
Yeah.
have to do this. Otherwise, you may not do it. So I did. And it
Mm.
ended up being very good. I saw people I knew. It was a good. So you have to push yourself
Yeah.
sometimes, and you could be upset or angry or depressed, but you can't stay there. You
Yeah.
have to look at the good in what has happened, no matter what it is, and
Mhm.
how you're going to move forward in your life and in your business. And do
Yeah.
you still want to, do you want to continue your business or
Yeah,
do you want to let it go? That's an option. If you
it is
decide
an
you don't want
option.
to do it anymore, that's fine. It's your business. But you have to make a decision.
Yeah. I think, we have to be honest with ourselves and really ask ourselves those hard questions. And
Absolutely.
if you had said, no, I don't want to do this anymore, it would have been fine.
It's okay. It's your choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we don't always feel like doing something.
Yeah, it's true.
Sometimes feelings,
And
yeah,
sometimes
we can
you
get,
need to take a break.
yeah,
No, you need to take a small break in your business, but just think about it. Think about what you may be missing out on while you're taking this break. How long are you going to take the break? And when are
yeah,
you going to take it? Are there certain
yeah,
seasons that are slower than others with your
yeah.
business? If there are, pick a slow season, take that time off, relax, enjoy, reflect, and get
Yeah.
yourself back in gear and then get moving again.
Yeah. Yeah. It's absolutely okay to put a pause. Sometimes
It
you
is.
need to do that depending on
Yeah,
what the situation is to just kind of restock and heal. Yeah, to
right,
like push through like nothing ever changed, even if
right.
it's a good change,
Yes,
like there are a lot like the birth of a new child. That's a great change, but it's also a change
yeah,
that
a big
you
one.
might need to, there's a reason why we have maternity leave or why you should have maternity leave at least
Yeah, that's
or
right.
paternity leave,
That's
right? So it could even be, something that's really exciting, not always
right,
a disappointment that we
right.
need to sit back and reflect, like, oh,
Because it's still a change.
still a change.
Good or
Yeah,
bad, it's still a change.
yeah. But I love that. So thank you for sharing that and that reminder that life is changing. So,
It is, it is constantly.
yeah. So, how can people connect with you so that they can just either purchase their books, get coaching from you, or even, as this conference gets closer, how they can find out how they can participate?
Okay, so you can reach me through my website, which is actually up there. It's etiquette and writing consultancy.com. So that is my website. You can also email me at etiquette experts, the number 7 at Gmail. Okay. And
Out this.
I will have information on my website as the time gets closer. If you want to sign up, because we're going to have a newsletter or something that's
Mhm.
going to give you updates on the conference. If you want to be included in that, you can just email me and let me
Okay.
know, and I will add your name to the newsletter or whatever
Okay.
we have that gives out information on the,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
I was going to say, is there like a pre-registration? Like I know with authors, sometimes there's
Yes.
like a pre-sale.
Yeah.
Is that
Yes, there will be a pre-registration.
okay? Cool.
Definitely. Yeah. And the other thing that
Awesome.
I want to invite you to do is if anyone is interested in retaining me as a book consultant, um I give 30-minute um, complimentary sessions,
Okay.
usually on Zoom, just to get an idea of what you're looking to do, what you're looking for from me, and those kinds of things. So yes, so I do give 30-minute complimentary Zoom sessions. So again, you can email me or go on my website. There's a contact page, and then I will get in touch with you to set up an appointment.
Cool. Well, that's good. Then people can get a feel for like whether this is a good fit and you can get a feel for if they're a good fit for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes, definitely.
Nice. Nice, nice, nice. All right. So Linda, before we wrap up, I thank you for your time. So exciting to interview you and just chat and learn some new perspectives on writing a book. But is there any last thing, anything, words of wisdom, insights you'd like to share?
No, that's it. I guess the only thing would be, if you seriously are looking to write a book, give it a try. Contact me and let's talk about it. And I promise I'll be honest with you. If I don't think that it's really enough information for a book or,
Mm,
whatever, I will be completely honest with you. But if you have that idea that you think is book worthy, or you have a
mm,
story that you really feel like you want to tell, or you have something that's happened in your life and you want to share that experience because you think it will help other people, contact me. Let's give it a try.
mm.
So, and
Yeah.
thank you so much, really, Beth, for having me. I really enjoyed doing this. I really
Oh, it's
did.
just so fun. I always
Yeah,
love talking to you. So yeah.
I know. Same here. Same here.
Yes, yes,
So,
yes.
and
Well,
let me know about that manuscript that you want me to edit.
oh, okay. Yes. Well, let me put a pause to our recording.